All right, and welcome to Fast Break Breakfast NBA podcast. My name is Keith Parrish, here once again with my buddies through the miracle of computer phone. Here with Chuck Anderson.
Hey now.
And with John Burr.
Boys.
So we're here, with the miracle of computer phone. There was a brief moment where I considered podcasting in the same room as Chuck because I had to deliver Chuck some stickers. And then I'm like, well, I'm going to be at your place. We could podcast together. And then I was like, I have such a short window of availability. The extra, 10 minutes on one end, packing up the recording stuff. And then the extra 10 minutes on unloading.
Your instincts were strong.
And then packing it back up. I'm like, listen, it's actually faster to not podcast. I can drive to your place, drive back home, and I'm still saving time. It's just the convenience
plus
of technology.
John's going to be really late again.
Yeah. So the convenience of technology, even if we could have been in the same room, which again, I have dreams. I have dreams of one day.
I think we should.
Sitting in the same room.
Dream on, brother.
knowing when John's about to sneeze. I miss that. I miss
Chuck brings it up every time I talk to him. He's like, can't wait till we podcast in the same room. And every time I'm like, you're gonna be waiting a long time, man.
Yeah, it's hard to go back.
You're gonna be waiting.
It's the NBA. It's the NBA reporters being like, man, I can't wait till we're back in the locker rooms.
Yeah.
Once that's gone, once that line has been moved, getting those gains back, very, very difficult.
Mm-hmm. You can't put the stuff back in.
Yeah, that's
Pandora's
right.
box.
You can't put the
toothpaste
bubbles
back in the tube.
Back in the that's for little kids who spill their little
horses out of the barn.
Once you let the horses out of the,
you can't get the horses back in the tube to water.
Yeah, can't.
Once he's already refused to drink the water.
Willis Stitch in time save 9.
Willis Reed game 7.
So we're a bit punchy. We're recording this a little bit early. This is the second part of kind of our season 8 wrap up leading to the beginning of season 9 of Fastbreak Breakfast. We're doing our butter or Parkay previews. We already did the Eastern Conference butter or Parkay, trying to figure out which teams got butter. And we're going to do the Western Conference today. But before we get all that, we got to go through, I don't want to say we go through the motions, but we have certain achievements we have to hit to unlock the butter or Parkay preview. And the first of these is our breakfasts. Gentlemen, have we had any breakfasts worth speaking of? I will say on the Eastern Conference preview, neither one of you ate a breakfast.
Right. Well, this week I will change my story.
Yes.
I'm not going to tell you what I had to eat. I'll just tell you my macros. How's that for boring?
You had macaronini, the pasta, the antipasto?
No, I had some high protein yogurt, some Greek yogurt, some oikos, a little bit of granola, a little parfait for the morning. Then I did a protein bar. So I'm well over 50 grams of protein for the day. Well over 40. And I'm living the dream. I'll be regular. This granola keeps me on time, like the trains in Grand Central Station.
How is your morale with your dieting and exercise regimen? Last week you were saying, you weren't seeing the gains you were hoping for. I'm here to tell you once again, you look very healthy. You look healthy. You look like best case scenario, Chuck.
Yeah, I don't know if
positive timeline, Chuck.
This is right.
John is the darkest timeline of.
John's only slightly older than me, but he looks like he could be my grandfather.
John has aged presidentially. John has aged
Grandmother.
presidentially during the time of this podcast.
But yeah, I shouldn't be thinking about going to the gym and eating right for aesthetic purposes. It isn't. Okay. It shouldn't be my motivation. My motivation is because it makes me feel good, and I don't get caught up in.
I'd never consider that motivation for going to the gym.
It's my motivation. It literally, I feel better, and then that feeling perpetuates more action, and then that action, it's a virtuous cycle. But I've also been in whatever the opposite of virtuous cycle is. like downward spiral. Yeah, that's what you would call it. So I prefer the virtuous cycle over the downward spiral.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Call
John,
me weird.
What's your breakfast? You're very muted. You're still
we can't hear
muted.
you, John.
Muted.
Nothing.
Can't hear you. Can't hear you. Can't hear you.
All
There
right,
he
my
is.
child right.
Wait,
You're a little
like-
behind.
you're now real messed up.
And
right.
he's gone.
Trying to decide if we should do gallery. It's gonna look odd.
Do you want me to turn sideways? Is that helpful?
That will be better.
Like
yeah.
you guys?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Try to keep your head at the top of the screen if you can.
Okay.
All right. Yeah, we threw it to you for your breakfast. Whenever you want.
Well, I'm in a odd situation, very timely situation, very modern situation where I've discovered that my eatery of choice, McGaw's Donuts, is attempting to gaslight me.
This has been quite the saga of multiple weeks in a row running.
Well,
Episodic.
maybe-
Yeah.
We've been recording on Mondays for some time, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I've been getting McGaw's before podcasts for some time.
Yeah.
And the woman insisted to me yesterday, to the point of belligerence, that they have always been closed on Mondays. And I'm just mistaken because I'm like, when are you guys, you're not open according to your hours. Like, when
Yeah.
are you open? You know. And by the way, this is on Monday when we're having this conversation. And she's insisting they were always closed on Mondays and that we are just open this Monday for a special reason, which she would not tell me.
So
And with my donut woman with a butterfly roll in my hand, gesticulating wildly with a butterfly roll in front of friends and family.
What's a butterfly roll? I don't know what a butterfly roll is.
Yeah, never heard of that.
Butterfly roll is something that I thought was very diminutive. And I was just trying to get like a small thing to go with my blueberry glazed. But it's one of those things that's actually two. From afar, looks like one roll. Up close, it's a figure eight of sugary goodness. So
All
I'm
right.
like,
So are we like
Like a donut
in the
knot?
realm? Are we in the realm of like a elephant ear? A
okay, I don't know.
fried?
I'm gonna say
like
that.
funnel cake? No.
Funnel
Fry
cake.
bread?
Right. Opposite end of the spectrum. I'm gonna say it's right in the middle between funnel cake and rye bread.
Okay.
Now, how much, Chuck? I want to know how much do you in this story that John has related? How much do you believe the donut lady versus John Burr versus which day of the week this story is?
Well,
actually
I've
about?
always thought we consistently podcast on Tuesdays.
That's a very important point that I was going to bring up. We've been recording on Tuesdays for a very long time,
For a long
for
time.
at least a year. So John, I think maybe thought it was Mondays.
I worried about that, and I think kind of why I went to you guys, because after I left, I was like, maybe we record on Tuesdays, and they have always been closed on Mondays.
Always closed
But
on
I
Mondays.
basically raised my voice at this woman.
Yeah.
Well, she didn't gaslight you. You were just like unaware of your time and place in the world at any given moment.
Yeah.
You don't know which direction is north, I would assume, from where you're sitting right now.
I have a new car that tells me.
Okay, so you don't. So technology is a. Yeah,
I just look up.
technology.
I'm going southwest.
Yeah, you've been effectively removed of all the things that connect you to the outside world, and now you see everyone up from your weird sheltered space as a threat to who you are as a person.
Bunker.
It's a bunker.
Yeah.
The John lift.
Dorky. My 3 screens that don't even work.
It's impressive.
Hey, don't come in here.
John, can you record locally? Because it actually is pretty garbage.
Yeah,
that?
we're missing like every third
Yeah,
word.
like the audio is awful. Can you record on your end just locally? Like, can you record into any like a file into a microphone where you're talking where it'll sound good?
Let's just see. I just
try
restarted.
try to reboot.
Let's just see if I can join again.
Okay.
Okay, this should work.
Okay.
I'm out of the nebulous zone.
All right, cool. My breakfast. We've been going through, we've had a busy week at the household, and first part of the week I was in health and safety protocols, and then my wife actually left to go to a conference, so now I'm doing single dad stuff. Because of that, we decided we ended our campaign against the sugary cereals. We're saying, listen, let's just do Lucky Charms for this week to make mornings easier. We'll just give them a concession. Like, hey, you guys can have some Lucky Charms, and maybe that'll help us get out the door faster, get to school and everything. And Lucky Charms has a new variety. I don't even know what it is. Just some kind of, we do this marshmallow. So my breakfast, I grabbed some mini handfuls of them, and I don't know if this is just a thing about, this is a thing I constantly come across, I think, with food that I remember fondly. The question is, did this get worse or was it always bad? Because the Lucky Charms I ate this morning, horrifying. The texture was all wrong. The marshmallows just tasted like, it wasn't the texture. It was really horrible.
I was about to ask, I don't think I've had Lucky Charms in 30 plus years.
Yeah.
Do the marshmallows still just taste like chalk?
My memory was a chalky goodness.
Mm-hmm.
And this was this didn't do anything for me. Maybe it's because I'm a hardened sugar user. And now I'm like, this doesn't raise my blood pressure. I feel nothing from this. I don't know.
You can't give like a simple barbiturate to a heroin user, right?
Chuck, you muted.
I think there are a couple things going on here. First of all, they've dropped the amount of sugar in cereals because it used to just be
because of Obama.
Yes, Obama banned tanning beds and
Thank
sugar.
You, Brandon.
Yeah, and the second thing is it's a biological response. Your tongue is less sensitive to sugar, fat, salt than it used to be. As a child,
okay,
you have almost twice the amount of taste buds on your tongue.
Chuck, real quick question. How come your rapper name was never Sugar, Fat, Salt?
Dang. That's great. Also, if they changed the Lucky Charms and were staying true to the leprechaun's Irish heritage, they would have added little headstones because the queen died.
They had little queen heads.
Little queen heads with X's in her eyes.
I think you got to the bottom of it. That was a good explanation, Chuck. Thank you. So maybe a little bit of both. The food is worse than we remember. The quality is not as
quality
tasty.
is probably better for health.
General overall taste. Well, it wasn't very good. Anyways,
if my vitamins can be sugary sweet morsels, can we just have cereal bowls full of vitamins at this point?
Yeah. I want to be fed like a cow they're fattening up, where they just give it chocolate bars mixed up, all blended together with other sustenance.
I can't help but think of the scene in Casino where Joe Pesci is explaining milk-fed veal to a woman that's about to.
We got you.
Be friendly to him.
Those were our breakfast. After our breakfast, we moved to our breakfast in bed. Apologies. This is our chance to make right what we might have gotten wrong on a previous episode. Does anyone have anything they need to apologize for? Chuck, you got anything you need to make right?
Yeah, last week, guys, when we were talking about the Heat, I probably got a little out of hand in my
We were picking on you. We were messing with you.
And in my, angered state, I forgot to mention Victor Oladipo completely and why him replacing PJ Tucker in a small ball lineup is going to bring.
We can't do this again.
Brand new life force to the Miami Heat. What I did do to try to make my point correctly was go through the Heat's playoff numbers and their 3-man lineups to find who had the best net rating.
Oh,
and
I love this. Yeah.
PJ Tucker was in so many of them.
Oh, and a lot of them. Oh,
so
I think you did
really
pretty
tied
well.
the room together.
Yeah.
I was in your stead, and you guys were both up mine about whatever team I adored. I'd turn into John Candy and JFK faster than you can.
That's a great.
Crab meat.
That's a great reference that is not on the tip of anyone's tongue.
Sorry.
No, listeners.
Remember, he was in that movie.
Yeah, like,
and then go back.
Yeah, he was in that movie.
It's the best scene, man.
What, John? What do you think you need to? You want to apologize?
I mean, I just kind of want to apologize. It's more like a pain of concern. I'm worried about our internet basketball community now that Rudy Gobert has outlasted every internet basketball icon that we all adore.
European internet.
Well,
well, that's the only players that we internet.
He has proven himself by progressing the furthest in Eurobasket by outlasting Doncic and Jokic and Giannis. He's the
Larry Markkinen.
Larry Markkinen. He's the undisputed best international player. I think we proved it.
Yeah,
no question about it.
Give him the strap.
Whichever one goes furthest. So that reminds me of my apology. On last week's episode with Adam Mares, we were trying to predict our Western Conference All-Stars. Adam made a great joke about Larry Markkinen and Simone Fontecchio, two players the Jazz got this offseason, saying, did Danny Ainge get the best two players in that trade? A funny joke. I laughed at it. Unfortunately, while the meat of the joke was good, the actual facts of the joke were incorrect, where Simone Fontecchio was not in the trade to the Jazz. They signed him just as a free agent. I believe what Adam was thinking of is Leandro Balmero, not Bolsonaro. And Balmero was in that trade. And I should have said something. And I'm sorry if, again, you don't want to nitpick a solid joke because it was humorous in the moment. But now I feel like I should set the record straight just to make sure we understand the factual elements of that situation. But those were
Glad you cleared that up.
Yeah. You don't know who any of the players are who I just said besides Larry.
I know it wasn't Leandro Barbosa.
Listen, I didn't know who Fontecchio was until 2 weeks ago. Can
we get back to John Candy and JFK, please?
Yes, we can. Right into your wheelhouse of John Candy.
You just as crazy as your mama.
Anyway, those were our breakfast in bed apologies. Got to tell you guys out there to download the all-access, all-in-one Grizzlies mobile app, now featuring mobile wallet for contactless payment in the FedEx Forum. I don't care if you're a Grizzlies fan. Download the Grizzlies app. Get 3 experiences with one app, including a fresh Grizzlies look and feel, along with access to FedEx Forum events and Grind City Media news and notes on all things Grizzlies, NBA, and more. From podcasts to purchasing tickets, the new Grizzlies app has it all. Upgrade your experience and download the Grizzlies app today at the App Store or Google Play. All right, steak and eggs, best thing. What's the best thing you saw in the last week? Chuck, what's your steak and eggs?
So my steak and eggs has to do with the Robert Sarver findings and the hammer that was laid down on him. He was fined what would have been equivalent to me being fined $40 for absolutely terrible racist behavior and sexist, awful, all sorts of demeaning nonsense. If you haven't read the report on ESPN, that thing is ridiculous. But anyway, what was great was Adam Silver had his press conference where he had to come out there and basically explain why this guy still owns a team, and more or less said the quiet part out loud. He said, quote, "There are particular rights here to someone who owns an NBA team as opposed to someone who is an employee. It's different than holding a job. So thank you for letting us all know what we already knew, which is rich white dudes can do whatever they want, and everyone else has to just deal with it."
It's really funny, Chuck, that he said that, which that's a uncontroversial statement of fact.
It isn't. It's
to me,
obvious.
yeah. And we all know that. And the league had to issue a clarification or a correction to say he didn't mean to say the thing that he said very clearly.
Right.
And the thing that we all know is true. Which is great. And this is a fast moving story. We're recording this not when you're hearing it. So there probably will be more details to come out because very recently, as of Friday, September 16th, a minority owner, the second largest stakeholder in the Suns, called for Sarver's resignation. So I don't know if more things are going to happen, but right. I too, Chuck, found it a very entertaining. Like, why is everyone outraged? He just said something that's blatantly obvious to everyone in the world, right? Like that's.
Well, I think most like normal, whatever, your average fan sees the commissioner as the like the monarch, right? Like they're in charge. But in reality, what they do is all of the paperwork that the owners don't want to do, right? And they work for the owners. And first, secondly, they work for the benefit of the organization, of the league. So like
the financial benefit,
right? The financial benefit.
It's a bottom line. It's a business.
But the other part too is like in that press conference, he said that he was privy to information that was more nuanced than what has been reported. And since things were redacted and he knows more, so since he knows more, this isn't as bad as you think it is, which kind of, but also saying it's terrible and awful and he shouldn't have done those things, but it's not that bad. There's nuance here. Yeah. So like not coming with a clear message felt, off brand for Silver because he's usually pretty savvy with this.
They like to pretend, and we like to believe as fans that the league is a virtuous league, and maybe it's like more progressive than the NFL or Major League Baseball or whatever. But it was a stark reminder of like, this is a business, and that guy is paid to protect the governors, the team governors who have the billionaires who have the financial stakes and everything. My best thing.
You're leaving out my best thing of the week.
Oh, what's your best thing, John?
It is now very clear. I know we didn't understand for a period of time exactly why Chris Paul was, moving from team to team. Now it's become very clear that he is doling out vigilante justice from the inside.
Oh, I love it.
And try as you might to say that no one should expect anything to happen, and that the league's going to protect itself. They're very, very well. Chris Paul's involved is all I'm going to say.
What if it's less? What if it's less vigilante justice? What if it's more quantum leap, where Chris Paul's not even making these decisions, and he wakes up one day, he's like, "Wait, where am I? Where am I? Oh, I'm on the Suns. I have to rectify this wrong. I have to take care of this owner." And that's just what he's just bouncing around. I mean, did he? I hadn't thought of
one of the Morris twins, Sam. I mean, I'm trying to figure this out.
Who's Dean Stockwell?
Oh, it's a great question. I'm trying to think. I hadn't thought of this, John, until you mentioned this theory. But like, I guess he did not overlap. I was wondering if he overlapped with the Aubrey McClendon, the deceased former owner of the Thunder, who was involved in lots of shady business dealings. And I don't know, maybe that's untoward, but I hadn't connected the
outstanding
the Chris Paul angle. My best thing is, in this world of tumult, in this world of constant change and ever shifting realities, that there is one stable guiding force holding this league together. The people that help this league just happen every single night of the year. And that is our official brethren. The NBA referees have agreed to a 7-year extension of their labor agreement. There will be no issues with stoppages on the referees' watch. They're always there for us. The thankless heroes, our first responders of the NBA.
Remind me, Keith, you would know this. When was the didn't we have like was it a lockout, or when did we have like
referee lockout?
Yeah, there wasn't. No, when bad refs were reffing, like we had like worse refs than normal. When was that? Or was it because of COVID?
I mean, they lost
scab
some
refs.
Didn't we have scab refs?
Well, we lost Kenny Mauer for Kyrie Irving level reasons. He he didn't want to put things in his body. I guess that would sully the temple.
That's right.
And some guys retired. It hasn't been the highest standard of officiating the past few years. But listen, they're irreplaceable. I think. I mean, we don't know what would happen. We saw what would happen when Richard Jefferson tried. So we don't want to go down that route.
Do you think that was he was a plant by the referees?
That was my favorite part of it. Like I legit was anxious / excited / titillated to be like, what if an ex-player just right out of the box is as good as a professional NBA referee? Like, what if the referees, what if I'm wrong? And these are not highly trained, skilled professionals refereeing. What if all of a sudden, like, anyone can referee a basketball game? By the way, John Burr, for the YouTube audience, has just changed his background to John Candy from JFK.
The likeness is startling, huh?
For a second, thought it was John Burr. Like, if you tilt your head to do the same kind of, I get it now.
Well,
I
get
why
many
you
John Candy-related Halloween costumes I've worn over the years that no one understood and thought was just me.
If you are
I'm Uncle Buck. What about this doesn't say Uncle Buck?
Little Miss Doubtfire. It's hard to if you're not watching this on YouTube, just an explanation for those watching the video. John's location and background have changed multiple times. Don't worry about it.
Multiple times. There's no continuity.
There's no continuity. Multiple microphones.
It's important to note that I demanded
locations.
The show. It's important to note that I demanded the show start at 9 a.m.
Yeah.
He needed it. Got here at 9:25.
I needed it.
Tried to belay that order desperately. Failed. Was locked in. I'd been cornered. And then none of my computers have worked all day, including my phone and main work computer. So having a good time.
Those were our best things. The opposite of our steak and eggs best thing is our cream of wheat worst thing. What's the worst thing you saw last week? Chuck, you want to go first again? What's your worst thing?
As we record today on the 16th, Kyrie Irving has not deleted a Instagram video that he shared talking with he wasn't talking. Alex Jones was basically speaking nonsense. He's out here doing his fake woke dance again, not doing actual research on the people that he's promoting to his millions of followers.
We say that. What if he's done his actual research and just loves them?
He just is like
he's like, I agree with everything this guy says.
I love a guy who calls the Sandy Hook family.
It's not a good look
crisis
currently. Read the room, Kyrie. Here's my related worst thing of Kyrie Irving. Basically, I mean, he's not very popular among any NBA fan right now.
Right.
From what he did last year. Here's my, this is not my official worst thing. This is an adjacent worst thing to your worst thing. My worst thing is what I know I'm going to do this coming fantasy basketball season, which is I'm going to get Kyrie Irving on every one of my teams.
Yeah.
Because this man contract year, but not only that, I think he's going to have a huge season. He's going to have no unexcused absences because he's going to need every dollar of his salary to pay all of Alex Jones's defamation settlement judgments.
Is $45 million
this guy gets whacked for a $50 million judgment? Like, it's going to be every month for the next however many years. So Kyrie's going to need all that money to help out InfoWars. And so because of that, I think he's going to be an undervalued asset in fantasy basketball.
It's a slippery slope from doing your research to thinking that there are pedophiles in a pizza place in Washington, D.C.
Yeah.
As a man whose fantasy team last year was known as the Branch Covidians and included only COVID deniers because I thought I could get them at a reduced value, I will warn you the Michael Porter Jr. strategy does not work.
Did not work.
His back is made of glass. Kyrie may be stolen in the night by government federales. So we might have to scale this one back.
Well, I will say in our negative fantasy league, naming my team the Morantifa actually worked out great. The Morantifas did awesome. They were great. And by the way, you can now sign up for our fantasy basketball. Didn't mean to make that little transition right there or segue. But by the way, if you want to play fantasy basketball with us, either in our regular fantasy basketball league, like a head-to-head 9-category league, or also you can do both. You can play in a regular league and also play in our negative fantasy league, our proprietary negative fantasy league, where you get points for missed shots, turnovers, fouls, and you get penalized when your players do good things. It is hilariously fun. It is zany. It is one of my favorite creations. And it's so awesome. You should all play. I'm hoping we can get over 40. I think our biggest one we had was 38 teams.
Where does it rank between your NFL 2K Dynasty in college and your second child?
Oh, I gotta say, when you put it in that perspective, I think running for 1,000 yards with Rudy Johnson when he was a 58 overall, maybe my proudest achievement of my life.
Yeah.
So it is good. If you want to play fantasy basketball with us, you got to be the $5 tier. Go to patreon.com/Fastbreak Breakfast. My actual worst thing.
You sure you don't want to talk about how Michael James had a 99 speed ranking in NFL 2K5?
I don't know who that is.
He was like you know how you could sort the players by fastest?
Oh, yeah.
The dynasty around them.
I was just playing with Lavernius Coles back then.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah. My worst thing, the Grizzlies last year in the 2021-2022 season, they won 62 games, including the postseason. They only lost 32 games, including the postseason. They're the second best record in the NBA in the regular season. Despite that, NBA TV last week is showing a lot of replay games from last year. They only showed Grizzlies losses. The Grizzlies won 62 games last season. They went 0-4 on NBA TV last week. That's 13% of every loss last season was aired as a replay. They showed them losing to the Lakers. They went 3-1 against the Lakers. Why are they showing a game from the beginning of the season? What was the point of this? They showed both games they lost to the Timberwolves.
Are they marketing us as heels, as bad guys?
I don't know. They're not building us up. They're tearing us down. They're just showing what is this? I hope John Morant sees that. I'm going to tag him. I'm going to let John Morant make sure he understands.
Use the clout.
John, what's your worst thing?
Well, this really probably should have been my apology, but after a decade of doing this show, I still don't understand how segments work. But my tirade against Manu Ginobili being in the Hall of Fame has not only ended in tears, it also has resulted in all of these think pieces that I've had to read and be like, oh yeah, that's right, that's correct. He should be in the Hall of Fame. So the years of me decrying Manu's HOF eligibility are dead and gone, and his candidacy makes sense. And Chuck, you must be thrilled. Tim Hardaway's transgressions have gone away long enough for him to be in the Hall of Fame. I wonder how long Anthony Edwards will have to wait to be in the Hall of Fame on his long weekend. But the
Manu Hall of Fame case.
It's sad to see your old arguments die.
The Manu Hall of Fame case always falls back to the confusion of no one knows the parameters they use. Would Manu make an NBA Hall of Fame? I don't know. He was awesome. He was great. He was a huge part of the Spurs dynasty. But what did he make one All-Star game or something? Yes. Yeah. So yeah, who knows?
But even for the league, I think you get it. You should be able to get into the Hall if you basically invent a move that everyone then picks up and uses.
Oh, it's
he's
an innovator. He's in the innovation league.
Hall of Fame induction for stealing that inbound pass by pretending you're not even an NBA player.
Why can't? So that means is Kyle Anderson getting in for the for turning the Mano's Euro step down to the slowest possible
Jose Alvarado, no way Jose maneuver.
Yeah,
put them all in the Hall.
I think it is when it becomes ubiquitous and everyone is doing it, and you're the one who did it first.
Wait till you see Walker Kessler shot put a ball from 3 feet away, caranging off the side of the backboard like 6 to 7 times in a row.
Onomatopoeia word you just made up. That was awesome.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, I mean, I remember the Manu Ginobili the first time basically seeing him play basketball in the NBA and just turning into a college basketball fan and being like, he's traveling. He's traveling. He's walking.
That's a walk.
Yeah. Never seen it before. Anyways, those were our worst things. Before we get to our Western Conference Butter or Parkay preview, we have one listener submitted question. Le Croissant questioner. I
believe Magnus asks, German center Jonas Wolfart Botterman has his last name shortened to Wobo on his jersey. Should the NBA do the same to avoid overly long names? Contavious Capos sounds fine, but what about Shai Gial? Or maybe go with KCP and SGA?
It's a good question, Magnus. You did take, 2 of the 4 longest names in the NBA and already use them. Capo is perfect.
Capo. That's
or Capo. You can either do the mob or the little thing you put on the neck of your guitar.
Stay away from guys who have perfect nicknames like Ken Sane Clown Posse.
Yeah, right. Ken Sane Clown Posse can't beat. Gildas Alexander, I think Giel, that sounds like a name for Satan.
Yeah, that sounds like a character from the Sandman.
And I'm already saying when I watch Thunder games, I'm already going hush, hush, shy, shy. So I don't want to touch that one either.
I think you could do it with Giannis, and he could be Giant.
Thank you.
Giants.
Can we please?
But shouldn't we just do I feel like we should keep it to the last name and just taking the first part of the syllables. Like
I get it. Then we'll do
like Anto or Anko. Well, which one's better for Tetakumpo?
We could do
I like Anko just fine.
I know you guys aren't MMA guys, but do you remember Mirko Krokop? Where they just took his name was Mirko, and they just took that he was a Croatian cop and made up a last name for him and used it for 20 years. So maybe we can do that for who's the guy whose dad was the super cop who plays for the Bay? Maybe we can do that for Nurkic. We can just call him Bo Cop.
What about go ahead, Chuck.
I'm on board with Juan Toscano Anderson. We'll just call him Juan Tocan.
That's good.
Juan.
Tocan's pretty good.
Yeah, yeah. What if we took Nickeil Alexander-Walker? We could go AWOL. AWOL on the back. I feel like that works. I
love that.
What about? Wait, this is embarrassing. I'm now realizing I don't know if Karl Anthony Towns, if his first name is Karl Anthony or if his last name is Anthony Towns.
Anthony Towns. Ooh, that's good.
He could be Anto. Where's the hyphen?
Where's the hyphen?
Little game I like to play. Where's the hyphen?
Would an all hyphenate team be the best all-star team in the NBA against other internationalities?
No.
Made up so many words.
No.
You did. That's incredible.
You also called Nurkic Yurkic, but we're just rolling with whatever you're bringing today.
We're having a great day.
Well, this guy's not on a roster currently, but what if we Timothy Luwawu-Cabarrot could be Luka.
Luka.
Seems a little confusing, but I'm for it.
I'm for it. Is this a great idea? Yeah, let's do this. Good job, Magnus. Good question. If you guys out there want to submit your question like Magnus, you have to become a Patreon supporter. Like I already said, if you do that, you're going to play fantasy basketball with us. What could be better? You can also join our Slack chat where we talk about basketball and all other sports and parenting and movies around the clock. Support the show. Do it all at patreon.com/Fastbreak Breakfast. All right, it is now time. One of my favorite things we do. It is the Butter or Parkay preview. We're doing the Western Conference. Last week we did the Eastern Conference. The rules of the game, what we do here is we look at each roster. We judge it against how they finished the year. And we know that most teams in the offseason, unless you're, say, the Utah Jazz, you're trying to get better. You're saying, hey, we traded for this guy. We signed this free agent. We drafted these players to improve our team. All fan bases are like, oh, yeah, we're way better. Like, we're way better. The players themselves are like, oh, yeah, we're going to have a better year than last year. It's why they work so hard. They train all offseason. So our job as adjudicators of truth, like Kyrie Irving, we are to tell you what is real, which is butter. Did this team get better / butter? It's the real thing. Or are their thoughts and dreams of improvement, just merely imitation. Like, no, you are not butter. You are, in fact, Parkay. So butter or Parkay.
For those born in the past 30 years, Parkay was a once famous margarine.
Yeah, a butter substitute. The way we deal with guys who were out for the entire season, because we do try to generally think of the team when we're doing this, we think of this team like, what if they were healthy? Like for the Trailblazers, it's a little weird. You're like, all right, could some of these guys play to the end of the year? Probably yes, Josh Hart, probably not Damian Lillard. But for the guys who were out for the whole season, Jamal Murray and Kawhi Leonard, this is going to make our job very easy today because we are including those as additions. Like the Clippers, not to spoil what's coming up very shortly. The Clippers get Kawhi Leonard back. So that's pretty easy. Any other little kind of issues we will hammer out as we go through the teams. We will start.
It begins with the brouhaha.
Yeah, let's start. We're going alphabetically by city. Start with the Dallas Mavericks. The Dallas Mavericks, quite famously this offseason, lost Jalen Brunson. After making the Western Conference Finals, the Mavericks are like, you know what? We kind of lowballed this guy. Let's not pay to keep him. Let's let him walk. So they lost Jalen Brunson. They also lost locker room leader Boban Marjanovic and the great actor Sterling Brown. And they added Christian Wood and JaVale McGee. So they lost Jalen Brunson and Boban. They gained Christian Wood and JaVale McGee. What say you, Jumper? Is this a butter or Parkay?
Well, as much as I want to be like good on them for going out and getting a pick and roll person for Luka that isn't Dwight Powell, who Luka has majestically turned into one of the better pick and roll partners. Let's see if we can do this with someone a little more skilled. I don't see Christian Wood scoring 40 points in the playoffs when Luka Doncic misses a game.
Oh, that's a good point.
Yeah.
I don't see Christian Wood being a good player if he has like a 30% usage, which Jalen Brunson had last year. I don't think the Mavs are going to be bad this year. I think Luka's probably the best player in the NBA. I know it's fun to dunk on Jalen Brunson and even more fun to dunk on the Knicks for him being their franchise acquisition, but I'm going to have to say Parkay. I think that from a pure construction team building perspective, I'd rather have Jalen Brunson than Christian Wood. And I'm not even saying anything bad about Christian Wood, which there's plenty of room to do so, but I would just rather have Jalen Brunson than Christian Wood.
I'm a big fan of the Christian Wood addition, and I think
too.
JaVale McGee helps, but they have so many bigs. They have the aforementioned Dwight Powell still on the roster. They are, I guess I wish to mention this. They're getting Tim Hardaway Jr. back. We can count that as an addition.
And maybe that's why they felt okay letting Jalen go.
The problem I have is the lack of playmakers. You have Luka. Like you said, John, if Luka misses a game,
yeah, I no longer feel
Spencer
like
Dinwiddie is your only dribbler, like only on the whole roster. I think it's actually really close if we include the addition of Christian Wood, because like Boban didn't actually matter when it came to winning basketball games usually, or neither did Trey Burke or Christian Wood.
you
Sterling
could
Brown
say or Christian Wood.
I think Christian Wood is an ideal scorer to give you maybe a more consistent presence than Porzingis was able to provide the past couple of years. Just maybe he won't miss games, and he is a very, very good mid-range shooter and like incredibly talented offensive player. So I think if you include Tim Hardaway Jr. and Christian Wood, it's close, but I still just got to say, like, they're not butter. They're not better for me. So I feel comfortable slapping them with a Parkay. Chuck,
they don't have Boban. They are worse in my heart.
I love it.
There's no arguing that. But I do see that, like, maybe Christian Wood and Tim Hardaway filling that Brunson role. They might not give you 40 in a playoff game without Luka on the floor, but they could.
You may not be able to play Christian Wood in the playoffs.
What about when this team trades Dwight Powell and Tim Hardaway Jr. for Mike Conley, your boy Mike Conley, John?
Ooh.
That seems pretty good.
Yeah. Anyway, I think we're all Parkay. Again, for any listeners new to the exercise, we're not saying the Mavs are going to be bad. I don't think they're going to be bad. I think they're going to be very similar to they were last year. Like a very good team. They have Luka Doncic. I just think this offseason
we're talking about the cupboard here, folks. We're talking
about their roster changes do not scream we got noticeably better. So that's
how much better is Western Conference butter parquet 2 teams in than Eastern Conference butter parquet?
Denver Nuggets. Yeah. The Denver Nuggets lost Will Barton. They lost Monte Morris. They did a salary dump using a pick to get rid of JaMychal Green. Austin also lost Austin Rivers, Bryn Forbes. Importantly, they lost Facu Campazzo. That is a big addition by subtraction. Oh, Boogie's gone. Yeah, he's not coming back. They added Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, Kinsane Clown Posse / Kentavious Capo, Ish Smith, Bruce Brown in free agency, also DeAndre Jordan, and they drafted a handful of dudes late in the draft. I think
white Christians.
We've spoken before about this. I know, John, you and I we're bullish on this Nuggets offseason. Oh, I didn't even say the big one.
Bruce Brown?
No, Jamal Murray's coming back.
Oh, yeah.
Just that's it. Even if Jamal Murray's not coming back, I might give him a butter. But with Jamal Murray coming back, yeah, we can just probably fly through this one.
Well, I don't want to.
No, we luxuriate it. Just lather on that butter.
I think in terms of winning basketball players, they are better. They are butter.
Yeah.
I think Kentavious Caldwell-Pope has proven himself to be a useful playoff defender. I think Bruce Brown, if you're an NBA podcaster, you love Bruce Brown.
Yeah.
That's just one of the tenets of podcasting. You have to be white, you have to be over 30, and you have to love Bruce Brown. And then, I mean, we are strong proponents of Ish plays 30, so this has just been a majestic offseason for Denver Nuggets fans like Keith and I.
So, yeah, like you said, even if you don't include Jamal Murray or include Michael Porter Jr.,
yeah,
I think this team, like, the players they started in the postseason, like, they started bad players in the postseason last year against the Warriors.
And the guys that they lost are all really frustrating players.
Yeah.
Like, who I don't know make your team better. Like, I know we were on Monte Morris early. By the end of his Nuggets career, he drove me insane.
Well, yeah, he was asked to do too much.
Yeah,
the burden was too much for Monte Morris. I think he's a good, useful player, but whatever. Again, like I said, we don't overthink it because I'm including Jamal Murray in the exercises. That's an addition. Even if Michael Porter Jr. doesn't get back to what he was a couple years ago, just Jamal Murray makes his team significantly better. Anything you want to add, Chuck? Or
no, they're butter. Jamal Murray, they're butter. Bruce Brown makes me feel tumescent thinking of him playing with Jokic. Let's do it. Butter.
Let's do it. The Golden State Warriors won the title last year.
This is another one where you're going to try to use the return of Klay Thompson to sully our enterprise.
So I'm not going to. I'm not. So since Klay was part of the team we saw at the end of the season.
Okay, good.
We're not including the addition of Klay. If you want to do some Klay's going to get it even better, the more further removed from the injury, I guess I'll allow it. We don't normally, again, re-emphasizing some of the ground rules I play by. I don't normally focus a lot on internal developments, which might be an issue for some of these teams coming up soon. But the Warriors are one I think you could probably argue it for. As far as the player movement, they lost Gary Payton too. They lost Nemanja Bjelica. They lost Otto Porter, and then some fringe guys, Juan Anderson, and Damian Lee. They added Dante DiVincenzo. They bought the salary dump to JaMychal, or they signed the salary dump to JaMychal Green. Also, James Wiseman, I think we're counting as a legit addition. So losing Bjelica, Gary Payton, and Otto Porter, adding DiVincenzo, JaMychal Green, and James Wiseman. What say you guys?
Chuck, why don't you go first this time?
I think you can, because of the solid foundation of their superstars or their top, talent. It's hard to say that they're better because they're older, but those young guys, they've shown promise. I remember watching Kuminga play against the Heat last year and just being like impressed by his ability to create for himself.
Incredible at jumping.
Yeah, he's an incredible athlete. But I love Gary Payton. I thought he was huge for them. And I don't know if you're replacing that sort of defensive tenacity with anybody that's on the roster right now.
With
I'm
a
not
white
sure.
guy, I don't think so.
Not, and
even if he is named Dante.
And Otto Porter was huge for them in stretches last year. So
very short stretches.
Very little
20 minutes and under stretches. You don't want to overuse.
I'm not going to oversell it.
Call those Gaffords in the business.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just it's what happens when you win a championship. Players go elsewhere and they get paid. And so I the team is a little worse. I could be wrong.
Yeah,
but it feels like they're not
a tiny Parkay. Okay,
that's tiny.
That's fair. John, what do you say?
Smear of Parkay across.
Barely a pad.
That's where you're at too, John.
Embarrassing. Yes, absolutely. Gary Payton Jr., Otto Porter were key cogs, even though they got decimated by injury. One of which from our boy Dylan Brooks dropping the hammer.
Yeah. Luckily, he came back.
That's it, man. The Grizzlies are just heels now. That we're going to be painted as villains forever.
I might break one of my rules. I do think that I think Moses Moody is going to be good.
Yes.
And I also think like Jordan Poole is still very, very young. And I don't think as much as I can focus in and laser highlight oh man, Otto Porter really brought this to the table. And I don't think those things are going to matter that much. I think other people are going to step in. I'm going to go with a tiny bit butter. Actually, I think just
I could argue that too.
One melted drop.
Yeah, I could argue that too, but I'm just not. I don't know. If it just feels in my gut that they're just not as talented on paper.
I mean, I think that's a fair argument to say they're not as talented, but I think we're basically all thinking this is the defending champ, and they're still probably the team to beat or something. They're
up there
in the West.
I
think they're probably the favorite still. The Houston Rockets are kind of interesting. They got rid of Christian Wood. They drafted a bunch of guys and brought in your guy Boban. What do we do with the Houston Rockets?
They're better. They have Boban. It's over. Forget it. They're going to win 65 games and compete for home court.
Yeah. John, what do you feel? Is losing Christian Wood, gaining Tari Eason, Jabari Smith, Ty Washington, and the great actor Sterling Brown?
So kind of in concert with my Mavs talk, I think the Rockets will be better. I think the Rockets are better. I think excising Christian Wood, I think that's good for this team. I think it'll lead to a better. I don't think what they had. It was kind of a toxic combo, those guards with Christian Wood. I know it sounds weird to talk about losing potentially your best offensive player and being butter, but to me, if it's about putting together a team that's butter on paper, I think moving away from Christian Wood and doubling down on the guys that you are trying to, cultivate a team around, that's the move. So I will say butter.
Yeah, and this team is all young. I think they're probably going to be awful. Yeah. But I'm pretty fired up about their young core. And I think year 2 Jalen Green could be a lot better. I think turning to Şengün will be fun as a podcaster, much like
making room.
I just have to talk about him. And then is Jabari Smith more of a winning player out of the box than Christian Wood? Maybe. I don't know. Maybe that's unfair to cast those aspersions on Christian Wood. He's been in some weird situations. But I think because of just there are fewer weirdnesses around this team. They finally, not that John Wall was a bad locker room guy, but they were like, John Wall, don't come around here. I think now they've hit the nadir of the rebuild cycle, and they're now trending upward, and we're going to see, I think, maybe just some good vibes around this team, and I think that's worth something. So they're going to be stinky, but not as stinky. And
I think
a little bit better.
Yeah, I think they're just by nature of a team that's young and stunk last year. They were really bad last year.
On purpose. They probably wouldn't have been good even if they Eric tried. Gordon. Maybe they'll play Eric Gordon this year.
Eric Gordon's going to end up in Philly to complete Rockets East. But I think that Jalen Green at the end was fine. He was fun to watch, and I think he'll take a step. And I think they'll be butter by a game or two.
When someone reads the transcript of you saying Jalen Green was fine, I hope they apply it more like, oh yeah, it was fine.
Fine.
The Los Angeles Clippers let's ignore Kawhi Leonard. Let's just pretend. Let's just say they lost Isaiah Hartenstein and added John Wall. On its own, I guess would that be a tiny Parkay, or is that just too much unknown? Because if we include Kawhi, who cares? Like, yeah,
they're better with Kawhi.
1,000%.
Yeah,
10,000% better.
My notes on the Clippers just say nothing.
Yeah, there are no notes to have. I tricked you with the don't include Kawhi.
They're butter no matter what. But
okay.
yeah, John Wall is probably one of the more intriguing additions this offseason for any team. And I think he has the ability, if he gets into a space where he understands his role and he can provide an upgrade to Reggie Jackson, who played well. But if he's better than Reggie Jackson, or even as good as Reggie Jackson, that's a really exciting team to watch next year.
It's not even does he have to be better than Reggie Jackson? It's like, does he have to be better than Terrence Mann or whoever was coming in for? The one thing that's weird about this team is just so many guys. It's just wild.
A lot of dudes.
Like, is Terrence Mann going to get DNP'd? That's not cool. That guy's fun. Luke Ridnour going to catch some DNPs? Maybe. Yeah, this team's all better. How about the Lakers? This is what a franchise.
Like a puzzle.
They lost so many players because they changed their entire roster every year. It is really, really bizarre. The Los Angeles Lakers, notably, like, what do we do with Westbrook? Is he a loss? It doesn't seem like maybe they're gonna play him, but they definitely lost Carmelo Anthony and Kent Bazemore, and then Dwight Howard, Wayne Ellington, Avery Bradley, DJ Augustin, Mac McClung. The Warriors stole Mac McClung from the Lakers.
We gotta go back to the Warriors.
They lost Malik Monk, who was like their one good offseason acquisition the previous year. Malik Monk went to the Kings. They've added Lonnie Walker, Juan. Are we going with Topa? Whatever. Juan Toscano Anderson, Damian Jones, Thomas Bryant, Troy Brown Jr. By the way, apologies for the Bulls segment last week, not saying the Bulls lost Troy Brown Jr. I know some people were upset about that omission. Are the Lakers better? Does Patrick Beverley move the needle? Adding Patrick Beverley instead of like Malik Monk. I don't know how to compare all these things. Do all of these like replacement level players going in the door and then out the door to just cancel each other out?
I guess. I mean,
ask yourself a simple question, gentlemen. Do the Lakers now have that dog in them?
No. I think no, there's no. I mean, it could be like a poodle.
What about a yippy dog that gets you into through the play-in into the playoffs?
Maybe. Okay, here's me being a weird Heat fan. What's up with Kenny Nunn coming back? This guy's going to have an incredible impact on the floor. They needed some point guard play.
Does Kendrick Nunn play basketball?
I don't know about that.
I don't know.
I think this is, I mean, as much as I love to talk about Patrick Beverley, this is an easy Parkay.
Super bad. But here's where it could be they are better. All of the players that they chose not to re-sign have not re-signed anywhere else. Right? So, like, if they got rid of a bunch of non-NBA players and added just NBA players, then they're better, right? Like, is that a way?
Well, I mean, it was hilarious. It was hilarious last year that the roster building strategy was let's sign all the guys who are not on NBA teams when it came to like training camp. Like, right. It's like, wait a minute. Training camp has started and every other team has said, no, we don't want these players. And the Lakers are like, that's our roster.
That's who I need.
And I don't know, man. I don't know what to make of this. Like, if I include Kendrick Nunn in the equation, if it's like, all right, Kendrick Nunn and Patrick Beverley, and then you're just losing guys who didn't matter that much. Like Lonnie Walker is, what do you say? He's the 10th guy on a team that won 30 games last year.
Fighting. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know what to do with this
fighting
team.
For a play-in.
I mean, I am certain. I don't think the Lakers are going to be good. I'm a definite doubter on the Lakers, but playing our little game here, just the simple butter or Parkay more. I guess I lean Parkay out of any overwhelming evidence to the contrary. So I guess I will default to a Parkay. So that's everybody. We're unanimous. Parkay. I mean, like if they trade Russ for anything, but I don't know if they're going to. Let's move to our Memphis Grizzlies. But before I do that, I should tell you, you should get your Memphis Grizzlies season tickets. Also, Grizzlies single game tickets. They're on sale right now. With 2022-2023 Grizzlies season tickets, you can guarantee your seats to see Ja and the next gen Grizz for the best prices. Plus, as an MVP member, you receive all the next level benefits, including special events, merchandise discounts, NBA League Pass, and more. Get your 2022-2023 Grizzlies season tickets by calling 901-888-HOOP or clicking Grizzlies.com. The Memphis Grizzlies got rid of DeAnthony Melton, Kyle Anderson.
I'm glad you did the ad read before because the Grizzlies are Parkay.
They lost DeAnthony Melton and Kyle Anderson.
God.
They brought in a bunch of rookies. The highest of those in the draft being Jake LaRavia and David Roddy. Now they're betting. They are betting on internal improvements, the thing that we don't like to do in this game, in this little exercise. They're betting on Ja Morant being an MVP, on Bane taking a leap, on Jaren Jackson Jr. getting better, on Zaire Williams getting better, on Brandon Clark getting better, all up and down the roster. John, you're not a fan, and you're a fan of the Grizzlies. You're not a fan of the offseason. You think they got worse talent-wise.
Demonstrably.
Yeah. Chuck, what do you feel?
Two of my favorite Grizzlies last year are no longer Grizzlies.
My two favorite Grizzlies are no longer Grizzlies.
I mean, like,
I'm wandering aimlessly in the wilderness.
I'm pretty sure Keith is actually a Pelicans fan this year.
I mean, I might be rooting for the Timberwolves.
They got a fun roster.
Yeah, I don't know, man. When is Jaren Jackson coming back? Do we even have a timetable for that?
We do.
So, you don't get to root for Tim Hardaway and then Anthony Edwards in a row.
Yeah, probably that's a little too much. Yeah, they lost two very important role players. We'll highlight for everybody who isn't aware of Keith's DeAnthony Melton obsession. They did not play him as much as he might have deserved. So maybe we're not missing out
Philly as much as he deserves.
Yeah, so maybe they're not missing out too much, but Kyle Anderson was vital.
Yes.
To that defense last year.
On Grits and Grinds this week, talking with Rob Fisher, the Grizzlies sideline reporter, he almost said verbatim what you said. Like, Keith, I know you feel like they didn't play Melton as much as you thought they should, and I pointed out they actually played Melton a lot. He was sixth on the team in minutes. Yeah. He was second on the team in 3-pointers made. He was second on the team in 3-point percentage. They did not replace those things.
I think he's a huge loss.
Like, they didn't replace those things. I am all in on the fact that it would be weird if any of the top 5 or 6 guys got worse on the Grizzlies. Maybe Steven Adams will take a step back, but it would be weird even if they just maintained level. I think the guys who get the most minutes, they are going to be better. They, unlike every other team in the Western Conference, they brought back basically their top 8 outside of DeAnthony Melton. And so it's they have this continuity. And I do think Ja year 3 to year 4 could go way up, but that's an optimistic take.
Yeah.
I keep coming back to when you just look at the players that went out, the players that went in, it's not even close. It's not even close. It's obviously worse. The criticism that people have levied at me, and I receive more of it just because this is the team I cover, is they're saying this is just like Jonas Valanciunas, Steven Adams trade. Everyone said we got worse trading away Jonas Valanciunas.
No,
first of all, yeah, John, you and I very loudly were like, this rules.
Yeah.
We thought the Grizzlies got better by trading away Jonas Valanciunas. If maybe I'm too blinded with how much I liked Melton and Kyle Anderson. Maybe there is a out there, give the front office the benefit of the doubt that without Kyle Anderson, maybe it actually will get better. Maybe there'll be pieces that fit even better. And in that situation, it will be similar to getting rid of Jonas Valanciunas, where the team plays a bit better. But I'm not there. I think we're depending on all internal development, which could work and could have the Grizzlies be one of the best teams in the league again. But for our Butter or Parkay episode, I got to give them the Parkay.
Absolutely. I mean, it's one of the easier ones.
Yeah.
It pains me to not spend more time. We found a way to spend plenty of time.
No, we spent time on it.
But it's a swift Parkay.
I am going to take their over, by the way. That's a spoiler. For 3 weeks from tomorrow. Their over under is set way too low considering the talent they are bringing back. I like
42?
this narrative. I like this narrative of them getting worse.
Is it like 42?
Oh, it is much higher than that, John. Okay. The Minnesota Timberwolves, who some people think might have passed the Grizzlies in the Western Conference. They lost Patrick Beverley. They traded away Malik Beasley, Jared Vanderbilt, Bolmero. They let Josh Okogie go. They added Rudy Gobert, my second favorite Grizzly, Kyle Anderson, and also Brent Forbes and Austin Rivers. That's a big old hot slab of butter, right?
We're going to go back to the Grizzlies very briefly because I want all the listeners to understand how insane it is that what they did to Keith in the offseason. There was a period when we were making bios for Grind City Media where Keith would not allow me to put Kyle Anderson as my favorite Grizzly.
That's true.
Because he also liked him too much. Although Keith did not put Kyle Anderson as his favorite Grizzly because in the intermediary times, DeAnthony Melton surpassed him. So in one fell off season, both of two players that Keith felt that passionately about swept away.
Well,
you're years in the rain.
You're well aware that in the absence of an actual personality, I use liking NBA players as a replacement of an identity and personality. And I felt that Kyle Anderson had become part of my online identity. Like, this guy is a passionate supporter.
Yeah.
Kafka, a Kyle Anderson, a known associate or known advocate for Kyle Anderson. And so it is.
Now Kafka stands for formerly known as Memphis Grizzlies.
That's right. I don't even, I'm still struggling with who's my favorite Grizzlies player? This feels weird. I loved the Timberwolves adding Kyle Anderson. I thought it was a perfect addition. I said so before they added him. And then since then, they've added players I do not like in Rudy Gobert, Brent Forbes, and Austin Rivers. It's not going to matter though, because this team is more talented. And also, by the way, Anthony Edwards is incredible. And going from year 2 to year 3 is the usual leap season for good players. So easy
Instagram Live, dude.
Yeah, easy butter. Yeah,
easy butter.
Easy
no
butter.
Question about
Perfect. The New Orleans Pelicans. No, we could fly through this one too. They lost Tony Snell, who hasn't missed a free throw since 2018. But they get Zion Williamson back. They also drafted Dyson Daniels. We don't know. Yeah, but easy butter. Zion's coming back. If Zion plays 5 games, they're butter because he played 0.
Team's roster is so incredibly sexy.
All right. So we have Timberwolves, all Parkay, Pelicans, all Parkay.
0 Phoenix given.
The Oklahoma City Thunder.
Oh, I forgot they exist.
You threw me off because I got the alphabetical order wrong last week.
Yeah.
So
I didn't even prepare anything.
The Thunder is hard because they added Holmgren, but he's not going to play.
Yeah.
So now,
right. If you lose a player that you didn't have last year,
I will say,
a tree fall in the forest.
The NBA.com player movement page has them as losing JaMychal Green. He didn't play for him.
Not true.
It's just confusing. All right. They lost Isaiah Roby. They gained, they drafted Usman Jang and 2 Jalen Williamses. What do we do here? They're not actually better.
They don't want to be better, so they're not better.
I look forward to a rando in our Patreon only Slack telling me that Isaiah Roby is going to put up numbers on his next team because he put up numbers on the Thunder.
Oh, you mean in fantasy?
Yes.
I $1 last end of the draft for his Spurs playing time. I guess that the odds of a Giddey improvement and Jang and Jalen Williams combined giving you more than Isaiah Roby gave you is a slight butter. But beyond that, we're not giving them credit for actually playing Shea. I'm comparing this to your roster. This is your roster in the season. You had Shea, you had Giddey. I think they're terrible.
I'm Parkay. I think
a little butter is what I'm going to go a little butter.
Purposefully worse.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just, their intent is to suck.
Yeah.
I think they'll be worse.
If
they're going to be worse, then they're Parkay.
If last year's full strength team played this year's full strength team and they were trying to win, Which, by the way, that should be the parameters we use for all these teams.
Yeah, probably.
I'm just not realizing.
After 8 years.
After at least 8 of these. Who wins?
Because
it's the same team.
Yeah.
We just, I guess, with Giddey and Gilgeous.
Gilgeous plays for this one, right? And doesn't play for last year's, right?
No, I'm counting him as playing for last year. I'm saying a healthy squad.
But I think last year probably wins. I don't know.
That's why you went Parkay. All right, so you're Parkay.
Yeah.
I'm a little butter in a indifference. Like, who cares?
Yeah.
Who cares? Let's give him the old slap of who cares on the Thunder. Now it's time for the Phoenix Suns. The Phoenix Suns lost JaVale McGee and Aaron Holiday, Frank Kaminsky, who didn't really play. They added Josh Okogie, Damian Lee. They didn't do much.
Yeah, a schmear of Parkay.
I think they're the slightest sliver Parkay, because I actually think JaVale McGee more important to them than Josh Okogie. I think is their biggest addition. They don't participate in the draft, so they didn't bring anybody in.
My theory here is one of their best players is inevitably going to start getting worse. Chris Paul, we keep saying it'll happen. It never happens. But I think this might be the year when
maybe this year you'll be right.
Now that Chris Paul has got his man, he may move on to the next franchise. We could see Chris Paul moving on to the New York Knicks to tear down Kingpin James Dolan.
The straight shoots.
So are we're all slight Parkays?
Yes.
I mean, there's something to continuity on a team that won a bunch of games last year and flamed out in horrific fashion. They may be more motivated to be better, but in my heart of hearts, I can't see the weird situation with DeAndre Ayton and the weird situation. Maybe having no Robert Sarver around helps them. Maybe that is a morale booster for them, but it seems like there's a lot of turmoil going on. So I'm going to go with a hard slight butter. Slight butter.
Okay.
Parkay. Slight Parkay.
A hard slight Parkay. That's our first one.
Hard slight Parkay.
The Portland Trailblazers, I think we're including, they get Damian Lillard back. They also get Jeremy Grant.
And that's a done deal.
Even if we don't
not Jeremy Grant, just the Dame thing.
I think Jeremy Grant is going to be a good player this year. I think it's a good fit, and it's the right fit where I think in the pecking order, it's going to be perfect. Yeah, honestly,
Gary Payton Jr.
I like what this team did, and I do think perhaps I get intoxicated by their offseason every year for whatever reason, but I like this. It's a comfortable butter for me. And
easy.
I think we can move on. The Sacramento Kings are always fun.
Boy,
they lost Dante DiVincenzo and Mo Harkless and Justin Holiday. They gained Malik Monk, Kevin Huerter, and they drafted Keegan Murray. You got to say they're better, right? I mean, the things they lost don't matter.
They matter, but not in the way you want them to.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah, you're not going to miss. I mean, I think Justin Holiday and Mo Harkless are like low-key solid additions to the Hawks, just professionals, like good locker room professionals, go about the business the right way.
Great players for what the Hawks need them to
be. Your 8, 9, 10th guys
for what the Kings need.
Yeah. I think with Fox and Sabonis, even if we want to write a narrative, they got a lot to prove this year. So I feel comfortable giving the Kings a buttery verdict.
Same here. I think they're a little better.
The last two are so incredibly easy because it just involves all-stars leaving.
Yeah. Well, as it turns out, we could probably end the episode now. The San Antonio Spurs have voluntarily decided not to participate in the league year and are thus worse unless Isaiah Roby averages 25 and 12. So that's an easy Parkay. And then the Utah Jazz.
Woo!
I don't have time to read all the ins and outs.
No.
They, even if Simone Fontecchio is the diamond in the rough, the signing of the off season, they are trying to be worse. And I won't accept even, I know we could, because we're professional podcasters. We could mount a counter argument if we needed to.
It's possible.
Hey, here's how the Jazz surprise everyone and win 50 games.
I'm trapped by Mike Conley, who sucks, into an eternal negative argument that I now can say that I've won forever.
So to wrap up the Western Conference, and I think we have all the teams here. Dallas, unanimous Parkay. Nuggets, all butter. Warriors, we had 2 slight Parkays, 1 slight butter. Rockets, all butter. Clippers, all butter. Lakers, a very confusing Parkay and confusion. Rockets, you're going to be terrible, but we're still on board. All butter.
No,
Grizzlies, a painful all Parkay. Timberwolves, all butter. Pelicans, all butter. Thunder, who cares? Suns. Suns, we went all just a tiny Parkay. And then the Trailblazers, all butter. The Kings, all butter. The Spurs and Jazz, yes, congratulations. You are the Parkayest of Parkays. And with that, we did it. I feel good about it. Another excellent episode, I must say. If you want to support our program, do that at patreon.com/Fastbreak Breakfast. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Things are getting shiny over there. Check it out. Follow us on Twitter at Fastbreak Break. You guys are the best. Thanks for listening. And remember, breakfast is the most important thing.